Hey, what's up? We're gonna take a little ride in the truck today, and I always talk in my videos about living in a rough neighborhood, and it's really not all that bad. But we're gonna show you just exactly how close I live to the rough neighborhoods and what's around me. And this is kind of goes in with your bug out, with your crap hits the fan. What should you do and what to avoid? And I don't know. We'll see as I go. This is just a fun video and something because I'm bored and off work today. I'm gonna record a little bit. All right. And we got the old Ranger. I don't know if you can see that real well. 175,000, man. She runs good, but she's old. Back up out the driveway. A little tough to back out of my driveway. You can see, I mean, the houses in my neighborhood pretty nice, actually. There's a church right across the street from me, and it ain't a bad place to live. And them apartments have got some shady characters in it. They're low-income apartments. The church. And my main complaint about these apartments would be there's only one or two garbage cans, and they basically pile their garbage up there, and that's just how they deal with that. Go up around a corner and go back about 4 streets, you're up into the projects. And there's a lot of good people that live in them projects that's just trying to make a life, and they really can't make much money, and man, I got no problem with them. There's some great people that live there. But there's also some drug activity, there's some prostitution, and some bad element. And that's the kind of stuff that I think about as far as if crap hits the fan. See, we've got an abandoned house right here, and as you get back, this street's really nice as far as the houses, but as you get back in here, it gets worse and worse. This used to be a bar, it's been closed down. They had to brick up the windows because all the local crackheads were living in there. Crawford Village. This is about as far as I'm going to venture into here. Done with that. Not going nowhere near it. This stretches all the way down to the river, and we've got row houses up here. I'm going to cut the video, drive back a few more streets so that this ain't really long. But like I said, this will go in my bug out series, crap hitting the fan. I mean, most of these people here don't necessarily have jobs. I mean, as far as food and sustenance, they sustain themselves by going to the grocery store, and a lot of them have food stamps. And during an EMP, when everything's wiped out, they're not going to know what to do. During government collapse or something like that, where there is no food stamps, they're not going to want to, they're not going to know what to do either. I mean, I guarantee you they're probably not prepping. As you can see, the neighborhood gets nicer too. So these people are even closer to me. And what are they going to do? They're going to come right down to the nice houses and see what you got and try to take it from you. And this is why I preach home defense and why I collect firearms. And stop here for a second. You can't see it from here. But if you look out from the higher streets from here, you can see there is some woods in the background, but it's connected to suburbs. There might only be a quarter-mile path of woods, and then right back into the suburbs. So as far as bugging out, crap hits the fan. Here's a good spot. If you look way out there, still can't see it good. The next town over, White Oak, is beyond them woods. I mean, if you wanted to bug out and you were going to hide in them woods, well, let's say you got a fire. Somebody that hasn't eaten in 2 weeks, they're looking for food. Everything's rioting over here. They're going to see that smoke coming up out of the woods. So this is why I preach, to move silently at night when you're bugging out and go from there. Alright, I'm going to kill the video. Alright, we're actually headed west now. I'm about a half a mile from the house. The real rough neighborhoods are back in there. This part isn't too bad, but it's not really too nice either. This was once a steel town, and a lot of jobs, a lot of families, and now it's all low-income housing. Just to give you an idea of just how populated this area is and the amount of people and which direction I would head, It's definitely not going to be west. Going west, you're headed towards the Monongahela River. You're headed towards you're headed towards civilization. That's not where you want to go. You don't want to be anywhere up in this neighborhood with all these houses that are all going to be people, that are all going to be people that are hungry, that don't know what's going on, and that are scared. Fear is the absolute worst. If someone's scared, they are dangerous. This is not the direction I would head. The Monongahela River curves around that way to a sheer face wall. You'd never be able to climb up it. I do know of some bug out spots there, but we're still too close to civilization. I don't know if we're going to actually drive out to a good bug out location and show you what I think would be good or not today, because I don't really have all that much time, but just ride around the back part of my city a little bit and just kind of BS a little bit about how I feel about crap hitting the fan or where I'd go. You got all these abandoned houses here. They're not all crack houses. I mean, they're just at once beautiful big mansions that the jobs left, the people left. I mean, some of these houses are huge and they're beautiful. But right there, we've got another small project. Boarded up houses there. You know, this is not the direction you want to head. We're now headed north. The Monongahela River hooks around my town. This is not where I would go. Possibly I'd follow Monongahela River to the through the train tracks. I doubt anyone's going to be smart enough to go down through there. But through the city here with all these people, this is not my first choice. All these houses, you're going to have people that need shelter. Look at this big, beautiful mansion at one time. Now it's just broken down, and you know, the police have done a good job of getting the fiends out of here that were living in these places. Oh, by the way, we turned. We're headed north again. We're headed towards the Youghiogheny River for those of us in Pittsburgh. That river leads away from civilization. This would be the direction I'm heading. I would not travel through the city. There is another way to hit the river on another bend, and it'll save some time. We'll get into that later. Alright, we made another turn here. We're headed south. We're actually following the Youghiogheny River. I'm a few streets back from it. We've got projects down here to our west. Alright, another place to avoid. Another broken down part of the city where you're going to have people that do not understand what's going on and do not know what to do. As you get down and out of town, headed south this direction along the river, it becomes a little more industrialized. These are the areas that I'm going to look for. These are the areas I'm going to head in that direction. For the simple fact, in that direction, there ain't going to be people. That's where I would possibly bug out, but I'm going to probably travel in this direction a good, I don't know, as far as I could possibly get on my first run. I'd want to leave at night, avoid all this broken downness, avoid all these people around here. I've got a few friends that live on that side of the river that are pretty smart and like-minded as far as bug out and survival. To try to meet up with them. I don't know if the cell phones would work or not. It depends on what all happens, I suppose. But this would be the general direction we would be headed. You can see an old scrap yard across the river, and there's the Steel Valley Trail that hooks up with the Yacht River Trail. And we'll take a ride over. We'll look at the Yacht River along the Yacht River Trail. I don't think that's a good idea for bug out either. I think you'd be doing a little better to stay along the train tracks. There's a lot more people along the trail. The other thing you're going to have to think of is in a disaster situation, if the government should decide to move troops in through the area, well, that'd be the main way they do it, along those railroad tracks. So I don't think you'd actually exactly want to walk on the railroad tracks, but follow that as a locator, because eventually the Yacht River will run you up into the mountains, and there are some places you could pretty easily survive up there. So I figure if I followed along the river bank, it would head me in the right direction of where I would like to try to get away from people and get away from the mass hysteria that could ensue. And it would be along the river like that, probably a good 60 miles. I'm figuring I'm being cautious on how far I'd go in a day, because I'm obviously, you've seen my videos, I'm overweight and out of shape. And carrying a bug out bag and supplies, I don't see myself moving any more than at the most 20 miles in one day, maybe 10 miles in one day, you know, not overdoing it because I got a long route to go. I mean, I'm going to have to go about 60 miles before I could set up any kind of a, you know, semi-permanent camp where I could survive at. Mainly, I'd just be sleeping in the woods along the way. But, alright, we'll continue this when we get down along the river and have a look at everything out that way. Alright, we're a little closer to the Yauk River. As you can kind of tell, we're getting away from civilization. We're getting away from the city. That's kind of what I had in mind. Problem number one, this bridge probably going to be closed in a disaster situation. There's the railroad tracks I talked about. And here's the Yauk River. There's several different access points. There's a bike trail that runs along the river. The thing is, if you want to access the bike trail, if you want to take that to where I think it'd be a good bug out location, you're going to have to cross a bridge from where I'm at. That's the only problem I'm concurring. I want to avoid bridges at all costs if I do have to bug out on foot and get out of the city. Bridges are probably going to be closed. Not good, not going to work. So the easy way, which is completely flat, if you had a bicycle, which I got enough parts to build 3 of them in a trailer at my house, I could do it without electricity in probably an hour. This nice, flat, easy road here is going to be out of the question, because you ain't going to be able to use that bridge. I'm going to head back around home, and I'm going to set the trip meter on my truck right now. Okay, I don't know if you saw it or not, but it's 0. We're on the other side of the Yauk River. And in my opinion, once I hit the river, I hit safety. I have places, I have food, I have water. Some of the people that saw my bag said that I should carry more water. I'm going to show you why I think a 1-day supply or a 2-day supply of water would be more than sufficient. Now, you're not going to want to drink this river water. You could probably filter it in a pinch, and you could drink it if you had to after you've sterilized it. But there's a lot of water treatment plants within 30 miles upriver here. Alright, the river's flowing down from them. We're going to want to go upriver. I really would not want to drink river water below those plants, but there's a lot of bleeder creeks along There's a lot of bleeder creeks along the river that I would take my chances on getting some safe water. What you have to look for, though, is a lot of those bleeder creeks come from mines where the water's orange with sulfur. You're not going to get any good drinking water there. It's not going to happen. You ain't going to filter that crap out. I wouldn't try to. But you got a water supply the entire way, and you've got food supply. You've got fish in that river all year round. It's not hard to catch them. You know, you pick up a catfish off the bottom real easy. You know, set a couple of floater lines out there overnight. You're going to have catfish in the morning. You can find just about anything along the river for bait. Alright, I'm going to head back towards the house and kind of narrate as I go why I would want to take this route. Alright, we're 3/10 of a mile going across a bridge to the other side of the river, so you figure a quarter of a mile is not going to be necessary in a trip as far as a bug out. So let me cut the camera and we'll go from here. Alright, we're 1.2, so we're a mile away from the river at this point from that access. But you can also access the river back here about 400 yards back past that scrapyard. It's industrial and there are no people. This is kind of where I'd want to go. I would not want to go back through the ghetto, sort of, whatever, urban environment, we'll call it that, and be politically correct about it. I really wouldn't want to go that way because I'm going to encounter people, and that's not what I want in this situation, is to encounter any people. I'd want to go more along roads like this, you know, where I've got woods that I can go along that tree line and kind of not be seen as far as to travel at night and be unnoticed. We're going to pass some houses here, but this is mainly about a 1.5 mile shot to my house from here. Alright, we're not going to pass an awful lot of houses. We're not going to pass an awful lot of people. It's a more industrialized part of town. I live on the edges of town. And the main reason I'm even showing you all this is just to give you a little bit of thought on which way you would want to travel if you were bugging out, you know, to avoid people. When you're driving around, just look around and think about that. When you're up on it, like Pennsylvania's full of hills. When I'm up on a hill, I look across the river and just see what I could see. You know, and right through here, I see some woods that I could move through pretty quietly and not be detected by anyone, with a little stash of food and supplies that I have to get to the river, which is going to be my escape route out of the city in a disaster situation. You know, think about all of these things, and you basically aren't really going to want to run into anyone. I mean, you don't know whether they're friendly or whether they're scared or whether they're not friendly. I mean, somebody that's scared is going to be just as dangerous as a not friendly person. Somebody that's scared knows, hey, he got something in his bag. He might have food. Let's club him over the head and take it. I don't even want to incur that on my route out. Right there, can't see it too good, but we got a creek. It's somewhat fresh water, creek water there. You can find water there. I could probably bug out in these woods if I had to, but it's still too close to civilization. So, I don't know. Just a quick ride through my town and just give you a little bit of thoughts on how exactly I would bug out. But isn't it amazing? We're now about half a mile away from my house, and how nice the neighborhood is with trees and everything, and how beautiful it is compared to like the broken down part of the city, and the differences in the two, and why I would choose to head this direction. There's just not many people out this way. They don't live out this way. Back there in those neighborhoods, that's going towards my house. There's going to be a lot of people, and a lot of people that are scared. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that would help anyone in any situation. But I'm also a survivor, and I know in a disaster situation, that's what I want to do. I want to survive until everything calms down. I'm not headed over there. I'm not headed where them houses are. I'm going along these outskirts here. I'm going along this tree line, and I'm headed towards the river. Taking the roads, we're now at 2.8 miles. My house is just down over the hill from here. I might even film the whole thing here if I can. If I get a red light, I'll cut the camera, because I do pass one red light on the way. There's no point in wasting time BSing at a red light, but all things you got to think of. I mean, see, here we go. We're coming into houses again. You know, everybody in all these homes, all these houses are going to be wondering what the heck's going on. I mean, if you can hang out at your house and wait it out a little bit, well, you got a chance of running into some scared people that might possibly harm you on your way to safety, basically. Well, that's not what I want. But I also don't want to panic for no reason, decide, hey, I'm bugging out right now, and it's nothing but a power outage, you know what I mean? So the decision as to when you would actually make the trip to leave the city and bug out, that's the tricky one. When do I actually go, you know? You can see my house coming up, 3.3, so we're about 3 miles before we actually get to the river from my house, and this would be the direction, well, the exact opposite direction that I would want to be traveling. So I got about 3 miles of somewhat urban environment to get through to get to the beginning route that I would take to a bug out location that I have that's about 60 miles upriver. So this is why I don't carry more than 1 day's water. It might take me an entire day to cover those 3 miles. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I have 1 day's water supply. I know I could definitely walk 3 miles. That's no problem. That'll take an hour. And then from there out. Alright, I'm going to cut the video and quit boring y'all. I'll probably put this up on the High Point Armory. We have this ZORT, Zombie Outbreak Recovery Team. And I'll do a couple videos for that, and this is one part of it, just to kind of open your minds and get you thinking about exactly what you would do and which direction you would head in a disaster situation. Zombie outbreak, EMP, you know, world without rule of law, whatever. So, alright folks, I'm going to turn around, head home, and edit this and upload it for you. I've seen this in a couple of other YouTube videos about my hometown of McKeesport. This is the real ghetto here. This is the part of town that you really don't want to be in after dark. a couple of local bars that are known as drug bars, and a couple of online conversations on High Point Armory when I talked about basically being jumped at night and how I had to defend myself with a buck knife. It was down here. The bus station's one street over, and I had to walk from here about 2.5, almost 3 miles to my old house in Portview, which is a really nice suburb. But anyways, I just thought I'd add this in at the end. You know, McKeesport Hospital's right here. It's not a bad town, it's really not. There's just certain parts of it, the really bad parts of it, I'm not going to drive you through. I'm not even going to show you because I don't want to drive through there. Simple fact is, and I'm not being racial here, simple fact is I'm a white guy in a half decent looking pickup truck that's not falling apart. Police see me ride through there, they're going to think I'm looking for drugs, they're going to pull me over, they're going to give me a hard time, and I'm glad they do that. The police do everything they can. Alright folks, I'm out.